Good evening, everyone. We're here for a city council meeting tonight, and it is Monday, May 17th, 2021. We'll start this meeting with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Nordstrom.
Here.
Weifenbach. Here. Roberts. Here. Stroman. Here. Armstrong. Here. Jones.
Here.
Lehman. Here. Solomon. Here. Evans. Here. Drew.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Is Scott Wiley in the audience? Scott, our invocation tonight's by Pastor Scott Wiley, and following the invocation will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you for the many blessings and gifts that you bestow upon us, that you provide freely. We thank you for life and breath. We thank you, Father, for the beautiful community that we get to be a part of. We thank you for our city council, and we thank you for engaged citizens. And we pray, Father, for your hand to be upon these proceedings, that there would be a unity of spirit and purpose, a desire for the greater good and for good outcomes in every case. We pray, Lord, that you would guide and direct the entire evening, and we put it all in the name of Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. One nation, under God. Thank you, everyone. Now the adoption of the agenda. The council may adopt the agenda as written or make certain modifications to it. Is there a motion? So moved. Motion to approve by Armstrong, second by Lehman. All in favor of adoption of the agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number one on the agenda is a proclamation for National Public Works Week. And I'm just going to read this proclamation. It says, it's under the theme, Stronger Together. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Rapid City. And whereas these services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals at all levels who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our transportation, water distribution, water treatment, and solid waste systems, and the structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens and civic leaders of Rapid City to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in our community. Now therefore, I, Steve Allender, Mayor of Rapid City, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim the week of May 16th through the 22nd, 2021 as National Public Works Week in Rapid City, and urge all citizens to join in activities and events to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, employees, and leaders, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make in protecting our health, safety, and quality of life. And my thanks to Director Dale Tech and the whole Public Works crew for always being there for the water turning on, the toilet flushing, and the all of the other issues that are handled every day by the Public Works folks. Now, thank you. Now, Pat Jones has a comment, I believe.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'm sure we all feel this way, but I feel it's important to say how much I appreciate working with our Public Works staff, whether it's a quick phone call with a question or an email about an in-depth topic. I very much appreciate how hard our people work, their depth of knowledge, and how we are able to move forward and accomplish things. So certainly big thanks to all of you in that area, and I look forward to continuing to improve what we do, how we serve our citizens, and you all play a very big part in it. So to everyone in Public Works, thank you. Thank you what you did during COVID. Thank you now, and let's all keep up the good work. Thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you. All right, now, item number 2, a presentation, the annual Rapid City Water Quality Report, Water Division Superintendent Jeff Crockett. And we do have a 2-hour time limit on your presentation.
I'm hoping to make it 60 seconds. Is this on? You can hear me? Okay. Hi, my name is Jeff Crockett. I'm with the Rapid City Water Division, the water superintendent, and just wanted to take just a brief moment to make council aware that the 2020 water quality report has been made available to the public. It is on our website, and our customers were notified via our utility bill, and residential properties were mailed a hard copy as well. So this is the 18th year in a row that Rapid City has won the Secretary's Award for Drinking Water Excellence. So we're very proud of that, and that's all I wanted to share with you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now on to general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at this meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. And to our speakers tonight, you have a 3-minute time limit, and you can watch these lights over here to see how you're doing. And we'll start with Michaela Zachmeyer. Did I get that name correct? All right, thank you.
I would like to speak to you today about home rule in Rapid City. I've been told that public comment will not be allowed at Thursday's special meeting on the matter, so I wanted to make my voice heard today. I have some very serious concerns about adopting home rule in Rapid City. The first is the idea of elected officials, such as the mayor and the city council, ceding power to an unelected city manager, and in so doing, forfeiting our power as citizens to elect city leaders who are accountable to us as voters. I'm also very concerned about the potential of home rule to expand the city's emergency powers. According to RapidCityHomeRule.org, quote, "A home rule government would allow the city to respond faster in times of crisis. Example, COVID. 2 readings of an emergency ordinance were required before new measures could be implemented." End quote. The Home Rule website lists this as a positive aspect of Home Rule, but I am astounded at the audacity of anyone who would consider it as such after a year like 2020, which has been marked by one egregious abuse of emergency powers after another, including shutting millions of healthy people in their homes and denying millions of children the quality education and social interaction that they so desperately need. For the past year now, this abuse of power has been the reality nationally and across the globe, and countless lives and livelihoods have been the casualties. I cannot support a form of government that would make it even easier for our city to adopt the sort of emergency measures that have ravaged our mental health and our economy for over a year and counting. Furthermore, the people of Rapid City never asked for home rule, and we don't want it. As near as I can tell, this whole initiative has been done with no public citizen input. If there is some reason we, the citizens, should support this, of which we are unaware, then there was ample time to present it to us, namely in the informational meetings which were promised but never delivered. Between the lack of communication with the public, the choice to call a short notice special meeting rather than addressing this in a regular session, and the obvious lack of knowledge even amongst the members of the City Council as revealed during the March 1st meeting, it seems to me that this whole initiative has been managed very irresponsibly, if not downright dishonestly. I would urge the Council to strike down this home rule initiative that nobody asked for at the first opportunity. If we, the people of Rapid City, want a change in our government, we can let you know. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and next is Carla Schanzenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I would have prepared a longer speech, but I wasn't aware I needed to. I just want to address the special session that's going to be held on Thursday and the rumors that there are not going to be any comments that are going to be allowed. I really would like to have had input to this, but I cannot get off work. And that is part of the concern I have about doing something that has been so long in the works and calling a short-term session for that, not allowing people to have an opportunity to prepare remarks and to give both pro and con for a potential home rule item. Again, as I stated in March, I do not know whether home rule is a good thing or a bad thing. I certainly am not impressed with the name, because as we have seen throughout, I don't know how long now, that there are some really cool and sexy names that the Congress and people put out there, the CARES Act, the Dreamers Act, and many other things. And I should have looked for some that Donald Trump did. I'm sure they were out there too. But the point is, when you dig into them, they have things that are not in the best interests of the majority of the people. So I do, again, it's been a long-term thing out there. I'm not sure why we have to have a short-term notice on it. Granted, the information given should be able to be done without a lot of people protesting. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case. Secondly, I want to let you know that you are making decisions within the context of the time that we live in. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there is hurt, there is anger, there is distrust. There is a huge amount of regulatory burden and draconian measures that are being put upon the people nowadays. And this is the context in which we are making these decisions and making these presentations. It is not given to me to judge people's motives. I cannot do that. It requires me to look into people's hearts. And every single one of you look like excellent people. I believe that you are here working in the best interest of the people as best you can. But I can't judge your motives, and it is important. All I can judge is the process that you lay out, and do you follow it, and are you transparent, and are you fair? And when those things are not done, all I am given is to judge the fruit of what I see. And it gives me grave concern as to this is not being an open process. The other thing I just want to let you know is for the last few months, I have sat here from the beginning to the end of these meetings. And you know what? I will confess my ignorance. I actually thought that all of you knew every single thing that you were voting on. And I don't know why I thought that, because it's not fair. There's a lot of stuff that you were dealing with. But I have realized that you don't know. You don't know what's in these things. And you are our liaison. You are our liaisons to tell us this information. And when you don't know, I will guarantee you that I do not have confidence in this. So please, spread this out, give us the information, have the debate. If it is a good thing, it will survive. And if not, it just doesn't deserve to be forced on us. And that is all I ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is Al McPherson.
$5311 Dan Christie Lane. I brought this to the council August 14th, 2019. Over the past 10 years, heavy rains have brought water, rocks, trash cans down the hill on Enchantment Road. The damage has cost us over $20,000. And the previous owner at least $10,000. No storm drains were built the entire mile from the top of the hill on Enchantment Road until it passes our corner. The water wraps around our corner, Dan Christie Lane, and flows toward Catron Boulevard. In 2015, I spoke to someone in the city about the dirt channel that was dug half-mile up the hill to direct the water off Enchantment Road to the pond south behind residences. The city, realizing the problem, made the decision to have the channel built. The city hired a private contractor to do the channel. The channel was not graded, has overgrown with weeds, and was ineffective from day one. It was dirt and has overgrown with weeds and grass. The contractor warranty expired. Nothing more has been done. If there was need then, there is a need now. The length of the channel is approximately 300 feet. The solution, a 6-inch diameter PVC pipe, 10 feet long, costs $36. And 30 of those make 300 feet. The cost is $1,080. Additional cost for connectors and labor, the job would be done. I understand the city has $20 million. The cost of this small project is peanuts compared to any other. I respectfully ask this committee to follow through with my request and do the right thing. Thank you. Oh, excuse me. A couple pictures for you. Oops, sorry. Hard time. This was early on, the top one. You can see that water got in there, but it didn't get out. The bottom picture is what it looks like right now. And this other picture, I'm sorry, this was an early picture. This is one I took the other day. So you can see it's non-functioning, and I would appreciate if it got taken care of. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Jordan Mason.
Mayor, Council, and thank you for taking the time to listen to our comments today. I too, on one hand, I am very grateful to see that home rule is finally coming to light and we can start to discuss this, hopefully with some more information about what has been discussed behind closed doors for over a year. However, I also share similar concerns that your post on Facebook on May 15th at 5:31 a.m. Where you stated in regards to the special session, the session is open to the public, but no public comment will be taken. The other concern that I wanted to raise that I think is equally valid, and part of the reason I came to this council on May 3rd to remind you of the timeline, but to read from the May 4th of 2020 City Council Legal and Finance agenda, it said, and I quote, "Please confirm the appointments of," and the list proceeds. I will skip to the bottom here. "All appointments are to expire 1 year from date of appointment." It's May 20th. So at May 4th, all those people appointed to the committee are expired. They no longer belong to a committee. So my real concern here is that it very clearly seems that, and again, I love how she phrased that, by the fruits of what you're bearing here, there are citizens coming to this committee meeting on Thursday. And there are citizens, and you are arbitrarily choosing to allow some citizens to speak and some not to. Frankly, at this point, I think I also share the hope that at this point, I believe this has been horribly mishandled, and I would encourage this council to take action to stop this. As Michaela eloquently stated, and I'm not so articulate tonight, this was not asked for by the people. And this is, frankly, at this point, very clearly being rammed down our throats. It's disrespectful to the citizens. It's disrespectful to the constituents that you serve. And at this point, I am frankly, I share her concern that I'm not only concerned about how this has been handled, but frankly, the reluctance of this city and elected council to take action and to correct this, to have this done in an open, public way, is frankly a little concerning just in the way that you're governing. And I think that it needs to be publicly stated at this point, because there are some things that are legal and then there are some things that are unethical. And the way this has been handled is unethical. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and that'll conclude general public comment. And now we're on to non-public hearing items 3 through 41. There are no speaker requests for these particular items, so that would open up the consent items 3 through 33. Would the council like to remove any of these items for separate consideration or approve them all at once?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull number 8, please.
Oh, okay. Bill Evans, number 8. Any other items from the council? Okay, we have a motion to approve all of them with the exception of number 8 by Pat Jones and a second by RITCHE Nordstrom. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item number 8, authorize Mayor and Finance Director to sign professional services agreement for project PR 21-6180, Dinosaur Park accessibility improvements. Bill Evans.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make a comment that due to the sensitive condition of some of these old WPA structures up there, that we make sure that we're included in the discussion as where we want to go. The last thing because they're quite historical and I think beautiful. I don't want to see happen what happened to the canals along East Boulevard, which were mainly infilled following the flood in '72. Most people don't even realize that East Boulevard used to be, did I say West Boulevard? East Boulevard used to be lined with canals similar to those in Canyon Lake Park. And it was quite beautiful, and following the flood, they were filled in mainly, and the remnants were finally bulldozed here in this last reconstruction. So I think these are historical, facilities, and I think they need to be preserved, and I just want to make sure we're included in the conversation before a project gets so far along. And they say, well, why didn't you tell us then? So, telling you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Darla Drew.
Thank you. Could I have Jeff Bigler come up, please? So this is just the design for the project, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And when it's finished, it will be able to handle wheelchairs, strollers, all those kinds of things that you can't get up to the place now with
That
any
is
of those
correct,
things.
yes. This will provide a universal access from the parking lot all the way up to the top of the hill. And it'll all be ADA compliant. So it will allow people with disabilities, families with strollers, people that just need a break to walk up there. It'll provide all of those groups access to the hill.
I can still do the stairs, but I can see a day is coming. But so do you have any idea how much that project will cost? I think I saw it at one time, but it's not part of this. So do you?
We have about $2.5 million for the project, including the design work, so that's our target.
So what will that be, just like an asphalt, that'll be just a smooth surface all the way up, or?
It'll be a circuitous route of concrete that will be up there. This project will also stabilize the sculptures themselves, the dinosaurs, as well as provide some improved lighting and those sorts of things, just to improve it. And I just wanted to reassure Alderman Evans that we certainly are very, very sensitive of the historic and cultural nature of this facility, and we don't want to do anything that's going to compromise that.
Yeah, it's iconic in our community. And maybe along that path somewhere you could put some places for people to sit if they get too tired. Will that happen too?
Yep.
Okay, then you've answered all my questions. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
yield.
Jason Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I make a motion to approve this. If I can get a second, retain the floor.
Second by Lehman. Go ahead.
Just want to say I love this project, and one of the reasons that people of all abilities will be able to enjoy this landmark that we know is Dinosaur Park up on Skyline Drive. Awesome job. Can't wait to see it done. Jeff, can you remind us when we estimate this project to be completed?
The design work will be started this summer. We should go out for bid this fall and hope to have a construction next summer, construction season. We get a bid out this fall, we'll get the best prices we can if we give prospective bidders some time to schedule all their annual projects.
Okay, thank you.
Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for Mr. Bigler, if I may.
Yes.
Mr. Bigler, I see this money's coming out of the CIP funding as well. Wasn't there some leverage done with this along with Vision funds as well?
Yes, we're using both Vision Fund funding and CIP funding. The last round of Vision funds, we were successful in obtaining some Vision Fund dollars, and we have been saving some CIP money year to year just to make sure that we had enough to adequately do this project.
Thank you, and congratulations, because I really support the projects, and then when you get a chance to do, or any department that gets a chance to leverage the funding as well. So kudos to you and your staff that have been working on this project. A couple years?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Long time.
Yeah, we did the master plan for the site in 2014, so it's been a while.
Been a while, 7 years. Thank you.
Pat Jones.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Around 2010, during that summer, I drove the trolley for the city of Rapid City, which was one of the coolest jobs I've ever had in my life. And it was so fun to take people around the town that I love and tell them about various things. And when we would take people up to Dinosaur Park, they would hold their breath as we're going up, and as we're coming down, they would really hold their breath, hoping we had good brakes on the trolley. But to hear people get back on the trolley after they were at Dinosaur Park, after they'd walked up, come down, went out on the patio, had the really yummy hard ice cream there, was so special. And there's so much history. There's that hangman's knot that's over there, and the attachment that the project has with the School of Mines and when it was done and everything. It's awesome. So I'm so excited about this project. It's wonderful. It's such a great attraction for our city, for locals, and for visitors. So I echo my colleague, Mr. Evans, that we really want to pay close attention to everything that we do. It's in great hands in your department, and I just wanted to share some of my excitement about it because it's wonderful. Maybe we'll have a fundraiser sometime as to see how many steps Pat Jones can make to the top and how long. That'll be fun. Yield.
Ron Weifenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And in the light that the tourists are coming back to town, and since we're reminiscing about being children and watching the dinosaurs, I just wanted to ask Mr. Beegler if the feeding schedule for the dinosaurs would remain the same during construction time?
Yes, we won't alter the feeding schedule.
Thank you.
That's it. Bill, back to Bill Evans.
Yeah, since you're up there, Mr. Bigler, has there been any discussion about perhaps eliminating the people crossing the traffic, but instead part of the elevation comes from either a spiral ramp or something on the parking side, and then the people cross over so that we don't have that particular hazard anymore? Because as a person goes up there all the time, I'm telling you, that's kind of a scary thing. And so has there been any talk about perhaps coming up with something like that?
Well, I think that's something that could be looked at. We'll just have to see if it's feasible. Given the kind of limited area that we have to work with from the parking lot to the bottom of that hill, but certainly our consultant will look at that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion for approval of item 8. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us through consent onto non-consent items. We have no speaker requests on these items, so we'll start with item 34 under ordinances. Item 34 is second reading of ordinance 6486 regarding supplemental appropriation number 3 for 2021. Motion approved by Drew, second by Roberts. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 35, first reading ordinance 6485, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by John Roberts for Richard and Jennifer Kincaid for a rezoning request from low-density residential district to light industrial district for property generally described as being located at 3775 Dias Avenue. And I believe we have a motion approved by whom? Solomon. Second by Lehman. I believe John Roberts is going to tell us he's going to abstain from
I
this
have
one.
to abstain, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and so we have a motion for approval of item 35. All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries with one abstention from John Roberts. Item 36, first reading of ordinance 6490, an ordinance to align the municipal election date with the designated date for primary elections by amending section 1.16.020 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. Motion approved by Drew and a second by Armstrong. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 37, first reading of ordinance 6489, an ordinance to revise the organization of the Department of Community Development by amending chapter 2.47 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. Motion to approve, Armstrong. Second by Nordstrom. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 38, first reading of ordinance 6491 to enact Rapid City Municipal Code Section 10.52.090 to prohibit the use of certain motor vehicles on downtown sidewalks and to amend sections 10.52.1010 and 10.64.210 regarding skateboards and bicycles on downtown sidewalks. We'll go to Bill Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we decide to vote on this, I'd like to move to amend this to make the northern border become the railroad tracks, which I think is a very logical and easy to follow limit for people. They would understand it. Then that would also include the Main Street Square area. It would allow people to go down Apolda Street, whatever, to traverse that on their bike if they wish to, but the minute they cross tracks into downtown, they'd know they have to get off their bikes or whatever. So if somebody would second that, I think it's a logical extension.
Second by Greg Stroman. Laura Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could I call one of our city attorneys to the podium, maybe explain? We had an extensive discussion on Wednesday at our agenda review. And Jessica Rogers and I believe Kinsley Groot also did some work on this, and I think Kip Harrington was involved, so we really pulled our departments together, and I like it when our departments work together and get feedback from us, so I would like, before we move forward, to hear from our valued city attorney. Thank you.
Assistant City Attorney Jessica Rogers.
Thank you. We did look into this after that discussion Wednesday. We got the sense that council wanted to narrow the area where we were banning everything, scooters, bicycles, skateboards, from sidewalks. So one of our planners, Kip Harrington, was nice enough to actually drive through the central business district last week to look for obstructions. To Councilman Evans' point, the north border we had some discussions about, and really we wanted to encompass Main Street Square and all of Summer Nights, the part that's blocked off. We had thought about actually making Apolda the border, but Apolda doesn't go all the way through. Lots of people don't know what Apolda Street is, whereas everyone knows Omaha. So that's why we went all the way to Omaha, just for ease. But to his point, I think the railroad tracks are something people know, and there really aren't any obstructions north of the railroad tracks that we're worried about. We were just looking for a simple border.
So the railroad tracks works as far as the ordinance goes?
Yeah, as far as the ordinance goes, we can make that change, and I think that works as a border that people would recognize.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments from anyone? Okay.
Hold on.
Hold on, Darla Drew.
Yeah, I still can't support this. I think it needs more study because of what we're trying to make our corridor downtown be accessible to students and other people that, you know, might use a scooter or skateboard as their main source of transportation. I saw 2 people on bicycles on the streets today. I mean, do they, on the sidewalks today, do they get stopped? Do they get ticketed? I mean, are we making a bigger job for our police officers? I think people might use some common sense. I would hope so, but I can't support this at this time because I just think that we need to think about it more and think into the future. Like I said last time, no. I'm going to say no for now. I really think we can come up with a better idea.
Greg Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I just ask a quick question? Are you going to have, would you anticipate signage? Like if we were to approve this at the railroad tracks, would there be a sign just north of the railroad tracks that says bikes are prohibited from here to somewhere, or scooters, or?
That's a good question. We had talked about, since we narrowed the area so much, we thought it would be much more feasible now to put signs up on the corners. With the railroad tracks, I don't know that anyone's thought about where exactly those signs would go, but it is a much smaller area than we were talking about on Wednesday, so it would be easy to mark the borders, and that's something we've discussed internally.
Okay. Well, I think that sounds like a real workable idea with what Mr. Evans said with the railroad tracks, and I appreciate your willingness to work with us on that. I yield.
Bill Evans.
I just want to make one more comment. I was thinking similar to DARLA initially until Saturday when I stepped out of the record store and almost lost my left arm when a skateboarder went by about, I don't know, he must have been going 25 or 30 miles an hour, and actually it kind of scared me. So I do think there's a necessity for this, and I don't know exactly how it's going to be enforced, but I'm definitely on board with the restrictions now. Thank you.
Laura Armstrong.
Quick question. Don't we have a timeline? We're trying to do this before July 1st?
Yes, thank you. The state changed the law previously, well, currently, actually, all motorized vehicles are banned from sidewalks in South Dakota with limited exceptions, and they changed the law in this legislative session. So as of July 1, they made a narrow exception just for motorized scooters to be allowed on sidewalks. So we really wanted to bring this to you in time to get it done by July 1 so that anyone thinking about maybe opening a scooter company in Rapid City would know exactly what is and is not allowed. So that's why we wanted to get it out there now before the state law changes to sort of put everyone in our community on notice.
DARLA Drew.
I'll make it quick. So who enforces this law?
Well, the police department could write tickets, and historically what they've done is someone who prosecuted those tickets, they write them during summer nights. They write them when there are actual issues on the sidewalk. Generally, every ticket I've seen, there was a warning first, and they maybe got off their skateboard or whatever, and 2 minutes later they see them back on the skateboard. So they're pretty fair. They're not out looking for people, riding bikes on the sidewalks in the middle of a Tuesday when there's no one there. But when there are safety issues, that's when they really tend to write these tickets.
Pat Jones.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Our sidewalks, in my opinion, are exactly that, sidewalks. And they're not wide enough to accommodate that much other traffic. And we want to welcome everybody to our downtown area. And by having those vehicles being allowed to be on the sidewalks, in my opinion, creates a very unsafe situation. I just don't want someone downtown visiting one of our shops or stores to come out and, as Mr. Evans said, be hit by someone flying by. I would be concerned about the liability that would be involved in that, whether that person would sue the business owner or the city or everything. I think it's preventative and just some common sense to not do that. There are many times when our sidewalks are full of people walking around, and we want them to come downtown. We want them to use those. So all are welcome downtown, but everyone just needs to be in their place, I think, and do it the right way for safety's sake. And that's why I am very much in favor of supporting this. And I do like the idea of Mr. Evans about the tracks, because you certainly wouldn't want to end up on the wrong side of the tracks. Thank you.
Ron Weifenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciated all the comments, and I concur with Alderman Drew. And I think that if this becomes a problem, that maybe the vendors that have downtown can come back to us and say, we need to have that available. So I'm going to support this, and I think Mr. Chief wants to say something. I want to ask him a question, basically. Is this like a don't feed the ducks ordinance, where you just need it for enforcement when you get somebody who's really breaking the rules?
Yeah, I think for us, it's really boiling down to the public safety issue, to just that small core area that we've dialed down to. And yeah, we aren't going to, typically we're not like actively patrolling and looking for people to give tickets to, but if there is a legitimate problem, that's when we jump in. And this specific small core area that we're talking about, there are some restrictions there that are problematic. We have some very narrow locations that we've outlined at the working session where, at times we get lots of pedestrians walking on the sidewalk, we get lots of tourists walking in that area, and to have a very fast-moving scooter barreling through there at the same time as a pedestrian could be pretty problematic. So for us, I think it'd be a matter of if there's a problem, we just address it at that point. So I think for us, it is helpful in that very small area that we've identified to have it on the books. And, we can try this for a while, and if there's a huge problem, we can come back to the table. And also, I hope that if we identify a public safety issue that we didn't account for in some of these other areas, that the council would be open to hearing about that as well from our aspect. But I think for us, we just want to try this with the small core area that's been identified.
Thank you, Chief. And typically, you have a pretty good relationship with the downtown merchants. So if they they'll tell you, they'll give you their input, I'm sure, unsolicitedly, so, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Bill Evans.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one more comment about the signage, because I know as a person who rides bike a lot, their eyes are not usually on the signs, and skateboarders and other people, I think, that are riding those two-wheeled vehicles, their eyes are down a lot. I think it's critical that we decide initially, we're going to start stenciling the street or painting on the sidewalk areas every so many feet that remind people of where they're riding, so that they can't claim this ignorance of the law. All right, thank you.
And I just have a procedural question for Ms. Rogers. So this is a relatively minor amendment. We're moving the north border 100-some feet, so it does not seem that it would disrupt the first reading of this ordinance. So the next meeting, we would have second reading, is that correct?
I believe so, yeah. I believe you can, if you choose to pass it, you can pass it as amended. I believe that motion was already made, and then we would go on to second reading and you would see the text. And it is a pretty simple substitution on that north border.
Gotcha. Okay, so, sorry, it's been a while. Who made the motion on this? Evans, to a motion to amend, and then there was a second by Greg Stroman. Okay, and now Jason Solomon.
Thanks. We're talking a lot about where we're restricting scooters, but bottom line is scooters are cool. We're allowing it all over through town as per state law, and so Rapid City is scooter friendly. We're just talking about a few blocks downtown. I think we know this, but just for the public's sake, that we don't oppose scooters and skateboards and bicycles. We encourage those things. Just on these few blocks downtown where there's sidewalk cafes, where there's really narrow places for them to go down, that's really our main concern, right? So just wanted to put that out there for anybody paying attention. Thank you.
Okay. All right, motion for approval with the amendment. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion, okay, motion carries with 1 no from Darla Drew. Item 39 contains 130 liquor license renewals, which have all been vetted previously by the police and fire department. Is there a motion on item 39? Motion approved by Lehman, second by Jones. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 40 under Mayor's items. This is to discuss the planned duration for the next round of vision funds and the authorization of solicitation for projects to be funded out of the vision account. Go to Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. Since this is the discussion item, do you need a motion?
Yeah, I think the motion would be to approve the vision plan duration.
That'll be my motion. And if I retain the floor, would get after I get a second?
Okay, motion to approve the 3-year plan as recommended?
Yep.
Yep, and a second? Is there a second? By Laura Armstrong. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just looking for an appropriate time to discuss the rules that are going to be applied to the Vision Committee. And the reason I bring that up is because of some conditions that were developed at the last round of the Vision Funds. So I just need a timeline when it's appropriate to bring that discussion up.
The rules for applications and,
yes,
and that sort of thing. We can talk about that at any point you wish.
Thank you. If I may, just is it right now okay?
I think right now is okay.
Okay. What I'm referring to is the last round of Vision Fund. We came up with a rule during the council meeting that the the Rapid City School Administration could not make an application. They did apply, but we turned it down because of some other various reasons, and I can go into the reasons for that. But I just want to make sure we're consistent on that, and so that the people that are not allowed to make those applications are told ahead of time and not wait till the last minute to make that application known that it's not appropriate. So the reason I'm stating this is because we did approve the School of Mines at one point, so I'm just looking for consistency on that, and not approving the Rapid City area schools. And I think there's some other applicants in here that may be coming forward. If we have some kind of guidelines for them to be able to apply, who can apply and who shouldn't be applying, and et cetera. So if we get those guidelines, I believe that would be helpful rather than waiting till the last council meeting to make the decisions on the disbursements.
Okay, thank you. The Vision Fund process is carefully explained in city ordinance, and so unless the city attorney is going to counter what I'm going to say, I don't believe anyone is officially disallowed to apply for Vision funds. If the Vision Committee chooses to use a criteria during selection, that's what's not spelled out. This is a citizen committee that gets to make recommendations to the council. So, but the short answer is I don't believe anyone is excluded from applying.
Thank you. Because when the Rapid City Area Schools was making their application, it was determined by the city council that they were another taxing entity. And that was one of the reasons why it was not allowed to be giving them an award, because the Vision Committee did, I can't remember the exact number, but they were made a recommendation to allow for the Rapid City Area Schools to do an enhancement to that park out at Pinedale. So, and then the council overruled that decision. So it just didn't make any sense to me why we did that. Thank you.
Well, as I said, I believe anyone can apply, but the city council is the final authority on who gets the award. And so however the council comes to that determination, it really is up to the body. Jason Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To respond to Alderman Nordstrom, I don't think it was a rule, Alderman Nordstrom. I think it was a preference of the city council. Just like many of us might prefer city projects, for example, getting a fire station, that sort of thing, versus a nonprofit or something like that. I think that was where some of that might have come in. So it might have been the preference of many that if you, because we have often more requests than we have funds, so you have to choose, and it may have been part of each individual council member's filtering process as to whether the taxing entity was something they wanted to do during that round or not. But I don't believe it was because we made a hard and fast rule. I think it was because the city council members individually and thus together came to a conclusion. So my recollection of that was we never made a rule. It was our own justification for trying to filter out the decisions that are really tough to make during this time. So I don't think we have to make hard and fast rules, but it still might be a factor in our decision making. Just this is the discussion item on the agenda, so I thought I'd chime in on that.
Okay. Darla Drew.
I'd like to remind the council that that actual application was made by the Pinedale PTA. It was not done by the school board. The school board was certainly behind the PTA applying for $750,000 to fix their school grounds, which I don't think is a use of city money that we should entertain. I think that that should be the school's problem, and also, I don't think a PTA should ever get $1 million from the city to fix up a park. I think that's way past their purview. And so I voted no against that, mainly because it seemed to be an overreach that was being supported by the school board to get the PTA to apply for those funds. Thank you.
Okay. Ron Weifenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had the luxury of going through several of these processes, and I think that you had mentioned it earlier about the fact that the city council will have the final decision on what the money is spent on. So I want to make sure that a couple of things that the people on the citizens board understand that too, that usually there's a mixture of those things that get vetted and get voted on, and we've had some requests for like the fire department, some other big capital improvement structures that may end up in our minds being funded by the Vision Fund. So I just, as we go forward and we put these people into this situation, that they understand that they're going to vet them as best they can and bring them to us as recommendations, and then we'll vote on them. But in some cases, we might, pick something that the city has a dire need for. So, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing no further discussion, item 40 was to discuss the plan duration, and so we've done that. I also think that the council, if it chooses at a later time, can change the plan duration, but as recommended, the plan duration in the memo is 3 years. That seems to be acceptable to folks at this moment. So get a vote of approval or a motion. We have a motion. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting all talky up here. All in favor of approval of item 40, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 41, confirm the appointments of the Vision Fund Citizen Committee. Go to Laura Armstrong. Second by Weifenbach. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to sorry about that. I want to personally thank the people that applied, and especially the people that made the cut. I think their names are worth reading. We have Jim Keck, William Spindle, Beth Keeney, Marta Olson-Rangich, Kevin Crosby, James Haar, King Morschling, Christine Stephenson, Kevin Maher, and we have 2 alternates, Jennifer Rice and Al Rodriguez. Also, the mayor has asked for 2 liaisons from the Youth City Council to participate this in as well, to see where millions of dollars are applied through community projects. So I think that is outstanding. We were talking about fairness, transparency, and trust earlier today. And just to remind everybody, this is a citizen-led committee. And if we expect our citizens to have trust in us, we in turn have to show trust in them. So I thank you for stepping up. You will have many hours away from work and your family and other things that you can be doing. So I just wanted personally to thank you all for doing this. Thank you. I yield.
Greg Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to agree with what Laura said about the committee. I think that the mayor's got a blue ribbon group of people, very capable and diverse people. Some of them I've known for years, some of them I've never met, but I did read some of the applications, and I saw the diversity, and they're just a very impressive group of people, and I thank them for stepping up and volunteering to do what's a very difficult and time-consuming job, and I just wanted to thank them at the outset. That's all. I yield.
Thank you. Motion on the floor is for approval of item 41. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to public hearing items, items 42 through 53. There are no speaker requests on these items, so we'll move right into consent. Public hearing items 42 through 52. Motion to approve consent by Armstrong, second by Lehman, and that is for items 42 through 52. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And that's the end of consent. Non-consent public hearing items. Item 53, second reading, ordinance 6484, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Long Branch Civil Engineering for Doak LLC for a rezoning request from General Agricultural District to Low Density Residential District for property generally described as being located in the western terminus of Coal Bank Drive. Motion approved, Lehman. Second by Roberts. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have the bill list presented to you by City Finance Director Pauline Sumption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are no additions to the bill list, so the total is that which is attached at $8,871,860.07.
Motion approved, Solomon, second by Jones. All in favor of approving the bill list, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn, Armstrong. Second by everyone. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.